Hello trainers, my name is Tablemon and welcome to PoTown Store's YouTube channel. Today we're gonna be featuring the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX with a combination of the two Inteleons, and this deck is proven to be quite the contender in today's metagame. Let's take a look. Alrighty, this is the list that we're going to be playing today, featuring the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. It has two very powerful attacks, one more so than the other. We have Ride of the High King doing 10 damage plus 30 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Usually most benches are going to be featuring the main attacker and then a ton of supporting Pokemon, so you'll be dealing anywhere between 100 to 160 damage with this attack, which is usually good enough to 2-hit KO a lot of the Pokemon out there, especially other opponents' Pokemon VMAXs. However, the main attraction for the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX card is the Max Lens attack, which allows you to do 10 damage for 2 water energies, and then you get to choose whether you want to discard 1 or 2 energy and doing 120 damage for each energy you discard, so up to 250 damage. Coincidentally, 250 damage is more than enough to knock out any 2 prize Pokemon at the moment, and that's really good. There's no water Pokemon resistant either out there, and Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX is single-handedly keeping Welder decks at bay and using a similar Welder type supporter called Malony. Malony allows you to attach a water energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon B, and if you do, you draw 3 cards. Really nice way to repower up an Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX to attack right after you discarded all of your energy to do the maximum damage. That is going to be the strategy for this deck. And then we have the bonus Pokemon, the Inteleon line, with the Shady Dealings Drizzle, allowing you to search for any trainer card that you want in your deck. Can be a supporter, can be a tool card, can be a stadium. Anything you want, Drizzle gets for you, and that's really awesome, because in order to be a top player in this game, you need to plan out your game plan throughout not just the current turn, but multiple turns ahead, and Drizzle allows you to fetch the cards that you need when you need them. So it's really a really good Pokemon to have. And we also have a combination of the two Inteleons, the Sword and Shield one, which has the same ability, Shady Dealings, except this time you search for 2 trainers instead of just the one, with the Drizzle, so you get the bonus by being in stage 2, right? We also have the Aqua Bullet attack, which is not too shabby, doing 120 for only 2 energies, though I haven't come into a scenario where I've actually purposely powered up Inteleon, but it is a possibility to keep in mind. And we also have the Quick Shooting Rapid Strike Inteleon. Now, this ability allows you to put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, no matter where they are, and that allows you to bolster up the damage output of Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX just a little bit, where you would normally come up short, as long as you plan your damage output with the Quick Shooting previously and purposefully, then you should be in a really good spot to close out a lot of the games with this bonus damage. A lot of lists that are doing well in tournaments are playing only the Shady Dealings Inteleon or only the Quick Shooting Inteleon, but I really like this split of 2 and 2, giving you versatility, right? Giving you choice and therefore utilizing the one that you need for a particular situation. Outside of that, we have the brand new Path to a Peak from the Chilling Reign set. This stadium takes away abilities from all the Rulebox Pokemon in play. Rulebox Pokemon are those such as Ice Rider V or VMAX that have right at the bottom the VMAX rule or the V rule, giving your opponent extra prize cards. These include GX Pokemon, V Pokemon, and even the Prism Star Pokemon, such as Tapu Koko Prism Star. You cannot use their abilities, and therefore this becomes a very oppressive deck in terms of you're doing a lot of damage really quickly, and you're also preventing your opponent from having free reign on their strategy. So Path to a Peak, a really good inclusion here. And outside of that, the rest of the list is pretty standard. We have a lot of Pokemon Search in Quick Ball, Level Ball, and Evolution Incense to search for the Inteleon pieces and the Ice Rider VMAX pieces. We also have Reset Stamp to potentially limit our opponent's hand, along with Path to a Peak, limit their ability, so a nice way to try and slow them down. We have Marnies to attack their hand as well. We have Boss's Orders to target down the right Pokemon, and then we have a few switching cards. Pikarom is pretty much non-existent in the metagame these days, so you don't need a lot of outs to paralysis from Raichu, but that might change in the future, so the split of 2 Herbalus, 2 switches might eventually be switched out. to 1 Herballoon, 3 switches, or even 4 switches with no Herballoons. We have the Capacious Bucket, I never know how to pronounce that, I think I said it right. Capacious, I don't know. I never heard that word before this card got printed. Searching for energy, and we have a healthy 8 energies with the 3 buckets. That's basically 11 energies or 11 ways you can attach an energy on turn 1, which is really, really crucial for this deck. Okay, so we're back to missing energy. We are going to get a mulligan plus our top deck, at least 1 mulligan plus our top deck, so that's potentially very good. I don't know what we're up against though. Not a lot of things are playing the stone energy to reduce the damage, like usually Rapid Strike doesn't and Single Strike doesn't either. So this could be Colossal VMAX perhaps? I'm not entirely sure. Seems to be Rapid Strike, Urshifu Rapid Strike. Missing the energy is really big deal, but oh well. Not much I can do about this. Path to the Peak could be very impactful against my opponent, depending on how they've structured their deck, but already seeing Stone Energy and Energy Surge. There's no reason to play Energy Surge over Energy Spinner. There's absolutely no reason to play Energy Surge over Energy Spinner. It takes away options, right? Instead of searching for more than 1 energy, you always can only search for 1 energy. So that is a deck building mistake by my opponent. No energy, and a very real possibility to get my 2 Sobbles sniped next turn. It's so real, and I would be in such a bad spot if that were to happen, that I have to bench this Sobble in case my opponent goes attach the double energy, evolve, retreat, and knock out 2 of my Sobbles, then I would be completely dead drawing. If I attached energy here, I would be in a completely fine spot, but unfortunately that is not the case. Opponent gets rid of Mew using Quick Ball. This could be for another Urshifu, could be for Crobat, could be for Yetene, but my opponent does need to counter the Path to a Peak. We'll see what they do. If they Marnie us, we would be very, very grateful. Does grab to the Dene. I hope my opponent doesn't play it and then immediately concedes. That level ball. Oh, okay. So the Drizzle will grab the Stadium and then they will do Dene change. So seems like they didn't forget. Or they grab Incense. Okay. One card in their hand is the Dene. So what's the other one? If they bench the Dene on their Path to a Peak, they might just immediately concede. They're gonna do it. Yep, they did it. They did it. Oh my gosh. They even had the chance not to do it, but they did it. Okay, so obviously I don't want to Marnie my opponent. I'm gonna go ahead and research. Top decking that Inteleon, a little sad, that's for sure. A little sad. I also priced 2 Ice Rider. Things could not be going worse. Okay, well, no, things could be going worse. My opponent could have remembered the Stadium, that's for sure. Alright, I was about to say, well, actually things couldn't be worse because I missed energy, but I did get the Drizzle in order to get more things. Alright, I do have 1 Drizzle available still. So if I hit for 40, my Calyrex actually won't necessarily go down, but I don't think 40 ever matters. Well, 40 plus 60 plus 250 actually does. That's okay. Like, my opponent really messed up last turn. I'm gonna go ahead and bench this. I really need prizes though. It really sucks that the only draw card I have is Marty next turn, because that will help my opponent. I might actually choose not to. I'll go ahead and attach the energy, hit for 40 and place it to damage counters, and then with 2 more damage counters, I'll actually be okay. They'll take 2 prizes, but yeah, it's what I have to do. I don't want to Marnie this turn. I'll Marnie after they take the knockout. Because then I have guaranteed knockout on this, and that's the only Pokemon that they threaten me with. Oh well. Weird game. Weird game because of my draws. Not much I can do about it though. Happy that I got the Inteleon, happy that I get the knockout next turn. So we're trading 2 for 3, that's always a positive trade-off for me, right? Always a positive trade-off, and I still have access to the Malonys. I'll be getting 3 prize cards. I'll be marking my opponent's hand away. Their prizes, we know the 2 cards in their hand. Probably not very good, but we'll see. Like the 2 prizes will be unknown, so then we will give them more unknown cards, right? Well, never mind. So that attachment shows me very clearly that my opponent is not thinking about what I'm going to do at all, right? Because I'm about to knock out this Urshifu, guaranteed. So questionable plays by my opponent, starting with the Data Change on their path to the peak. I will be pretty safe, so now I will bench the Sobble, because I do have the possibility to get the Drizzle out of the prize cards, and that could be pretty important. And now I have access to the Drizzle for the Malony next turn, so we're just gonna go ahead and max Lance for the KO. Perfect math thanks to the Pierce, right? And whenever this Pokemon ends up going down, there's the Drizzle as mentioned, so I have access to any 2 cards that I want, any 2 trainers rather that I want, and there's my Ice Rider. Thankfully, I was able to unlock one, so things are looking pretty great. Mostly because my opponent's mistake. Like there was no need to evolve right there, there was no need to. It would have been better to use Drizzle to search for a stadium and use Data Change for 6 brand new cards. But instead what they did was just not very good. I can't boss and Malony in the same turn, but what I can do is Malony power up this turn, knock out the Basimian, and then go for boss next turn and knock out the Dedenne to win. So this game should be pretty locked up if I get to keep my current hand. If and only if I get to keep my current hand as it is, right? And if we get Marnied, we still have the outs. We still have the possible outs, you know? Alright. Yeah. Still have access to the boss's orders. There's Inteleon, there's a Sobble, but no Urshifu in sight. Not very scared at all. I still don't understand this energy search. Why is that energy search and not energy spinner? I cannot understand that. And then we don't know if my opponent's playing a split of the Inteleons, but if they were, it's either prized or they didn't search for it. You're gonna see the Urshifu. So what's the last card in my opponent's hand? Is it a supporter after I Marnied them, or are they just going to pass right here? There's the Urshifu, not getting Crobat or something, so not making the same mistake. Hopefully it's not Marnie. Although I guess I have a good chance at finding Malony off of the Marnie since I haven't played any. Okay, it's just boss. That's fine. That is completely fine. Alright, so let's go ahead and search for Malony first. Is there any card I want to quick roll away? I don't think so. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab Malony, power. I could just power up the active. I don't even need to use the switch because the Calyrex was there the previous turn. I do have this. Now I have the boss in hand. I have double Inteleon access. At this point, I think the reset stamp is a card that doesn't matter anymore. My opponent's not threatening a KO at all anytime soon. And then the quick shooting, I mean, I guess I'll place it here just in case. But my end game is always knock out the Dene. Right? My end game is always knock out the Dene, boss, KO for game, and that's it. Worst case scenario, we get stamped to 2. That is a worst case scenario. And we have the double Inteleons, the Drizzle, the Level Ball. I have 3 level bolts available, 1 incense, 1 drizzle, 2 Inteleon, 2 Malony, 1 research, 1 Malony, so I have a lot of outs. Yeah. My opponent lost themselves the game when they played that Dedenne on their path to a peak, because they had the possibility to search. They actually had the possibility to search. And there we go. Desperate boss's orders, we have the switch, we have the boss. We'll knock out the Urshifu for a good measure, and there we go. Solid win. Yeah, solid win. Path to a peak doing exactly what it needs to do, which is deny my opponent's strategy. They played further into it by playing down the Dedenne and not searching for the card. Like, they did it so well in terms of one card, like they sequenced things so well that I was sure they were going to use Drizzle to search for a Stadium, or use the level bolt to search for Marshadow if they played it. But turns out they didn't. Let's find one more opponent. Let's get a really good game going here and see what we can do. Ice Rider does have a pretty linear strategy overall, right? I would say. Okay. Dalmeister. With the Eternatus coin, we lose the coin flip. They choose to go first with their Eternatus deck box, and Eternatus leaves. You can imagine that they're playing Eternatus, right? Sometimes players do this to completely throw their opponents on a loop, and they're playing something like Shadow Rider, right? Or something unexpected. I also mulligan twice, so that does not help my case at all. It definitely does not help my case at all. So it might come down to Path to a Peak doing its thing, but it is indeed Eternatus as expected. Quickness Guard energy attached immediately. We'll have to see what sort of stadium counters they play. See Zigzagoon getting benched as well. Questionable play for sure. Alright, and then we see a pass. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and bench you. We're gonna go ahead and establish a Sobble. Unfortunately, I'll have to get rid of a boss right here to establish another Sobble. I won't bother attaching to the active because it's likely going down. Well, it's not likely, but there is a high chance that it will go down, and then this hand's good enough, right? For next turn, we'll just go ahead and pass. Path to the peak, right? It might all come down to that. It might come down to Path to the Peak here. I do play 4 copies, and that will shut off Eternatus VMAX's ability, but they do have the Stadium immediately. They have the Research, and that Stadium essentially removes 2 of my Path to the Peaks from play, so that's really awful. We are certainly in a lot of trouble right here. Unless my opponent somehow whiffs the KO, which they still need 2 more Pokemon, and they even get rid of 1, so they're definitely not going to whiff the KO. They have a Crobat in their hand. Don't know what the other card is. They're digging for energy as well. I guess that's the card that they could miss, maybe. Not very likely at all. But hey, I missed energy 2 turns in a row in that previous game, right? So definitely possible. They chose to evolve before attaching. They play hammers. They haven't attached. I think they missed, which is really unlucky for them. The good part about this matchup is that I don't have to discard my energies continually in order to pressure, so that will compensate for my opponent playing Crushing Hammers. Very unlucky for my opponent though. We gotta feel for him. Very unlucky that he wasn't able to get a Dark Energy attached this turn. That might be the reason my opponent loses. And that is what happens in today's metagame. You miss one thing one turn, the game completely changes in your opponent's favor. It really does. Alright. Yeah, they definitely don't have the energy. The damage counters don't really matter at all. Overall, they do choose to switch, which is the smart play, right? That way I will need my last boss to close out the game. I'm just gonna double check if it's in there available. It is, okay. So this boss will have to win me the game, because what's gonna happen is I'll knock out Yveltal, they'll attack me, and then I will attack them, they will kill me, I will kill them. I will be at 2 prizes, so I will need to hunt down something else. Otherwise they attack me and I am dead, right? So I will need to keep that in mind. I'm wondering if I should discard 1 energy, just thin one. I'll still have 4. I will still have 4. Kinda wanna herbal in the Sobble. I'll switch into the Sobble and then we'll research. Best case scenario, I also get a path to a peak here to immediately counter this. Unfortunately, I don't. I barely got stopped. Actually, barely got stopped. Okay, so I just need to establish the Ice Rider and start applying pressure. That's what I need to do right here. I didn't prize 2 Ice Riders this time around, so that's really good. Go ahead and evolve. Go ahead and establish a 4th Sobble. Why not? Right, just give me access to all the drizzles. And we shall retreat, and we shall ride of the High King to take the KO. So we are now ahead. This path to a peak, I needed it. I needed 1 this turn, and then I could counter the stadium this turn. That would be pretty fantastic. All right. It's gonna come down to, can I boss in that last turn, right? Unless my opponent whiffs energy at some point again, or if my opponent successfully hammers 1 of my energies away. That could also come into play, because then I will have to Malony at some point. Or if they hammer 2 energies in 1 turn, that could also factor into the game. Okay, so full bench, not like that matters too much. I could also purposely not evolve the Shadow Rider. That is a possibility, or the Ice Rider third. That is definitely a possibility. I top deck the thing, so now unless I unlock the last one from the prizes, that will not be possible. Okay, that was literally the worst card that I could have top decked. Not the absolute worst, but okay. Wow, this is really bad. This is actually really bad. I do not have... Wow. I do not get any drizzle. No level balls, no drizzles. Yikes, this is not looking great, guys. Okay. I probably actually shouldn't have evolved right there. This was me mindlessly playing. That was a mistake. Sure. Alright, Ride of the High King. 250 damage. I have the Malony, I have the energy. I'll need a boss, right? Well, I need... Okay, there's a Calyrex well, so path to a peak will not matter at all. I will need the Ice Rider, the VMAX next turn. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. One benefit of having so many Sobbles is that, like, drizzle for boss to win the game is not out of, like, is not something unimaginable here. But if I miss the VMAX, I will lose the game. Alright, this is gonna be a very close game. Yeah, very, very close. Okay, that was the next card, so that guarantees that I get the VMAX, which is great. Now I have the Incense as well. So now I have any of my drizzles and level balls to search for that last boss. So I'm thinking I'm definitely stamping here. I will definitely not burn the bucket, because if they flip hammerheads, 1 hammerheads is fine, 2 would be devastating. Oh wait, they didn't attach energy. Oh, I'm actually completely fine here. They didn't. Attach energy. That's really bad for them. That's 2 turns they whiffed energy now. Okay, well, doing the same amount of damage as if I were discarding my energies. I could get Marnie here. I have the boss and Drizzles available, which is great. And I have 2 level balls in case I get stamped. I just unlocked a lot of really good cards to draw off of the stamp. And it all comes down to the boss, right? I should not have evolved that Inteleon though. If that Inteleon was not an Inteleon, if it was a Drizzle, then I would have 2 more outs with the Shady Dealings Inteleon. So definitely made that mistake right there. Seems like the game will be over though. My opponent's best and only chance is to stamp me this turn. And get an attachment. I don't know why they're drawing so badly though. Hammers are definitely outdated though at this point. Like there's like Malony counteracts the hammers, Welder counteracts the hammers, although that's not heavily played. They're not even playing Galarian Moltres, so it doesn't seem like they're playing an updated Chilling Reign deck list so far. Alright. They're not even attaching energy, so like what could they be drawing? They must be cutting some corners, because this is not usual. I don't think. They might have rage quit after they missed energy off of that Crobat. No, okay, they do find energy. And they research. Okay, so they really need reset stamp here. I don't know why that took so long for them to decide what to do. I really don't. Why that took so long for them to decide what to do there. They had no other choice, realistically. I don't think they're playing Reset Stamp though. So yeah, the game is over. The game is indeed over. We'll grab this. We will use boss. So even though this deck only plays 2 bosses, super important to make sure that you are planning, yeah? Since the very first turn where I discarded that first boss's orders on turn 1, I already knew how I was going to win the game, okay? That is what makes that is what makes you successful in the Pokemon trading card game. Yeah, you need to plan for the future, you need to plan your strategy, and really focus on what you can and what you want to do and how you are going to win the game. Yeah, it's okay to play just for fun, right? But if you're really eager to win as many games as you can, since the very first turn, since you see your hand, start thinking, okay, so how am I going to win this game? Thank you so much, trainers. This is Tablemon.